first thing, as promised, we are going to talk about is STAAR data. So STAAR data has come out. I know a lot of the teachers, we'll just talk briefly about that, are on Facebook. I know there's a lot of chatter on social media. There's a few Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and teachers like to talk about all kinds of things. It's a great professional learning network. But I know that when the STAAR data came out, there was a lot of conversation around scores and things like that. So we just wanted to have this opportunity, but we're going to structure the conversation. So really what we're going to do is we're going to model for you guys just one way that you could have these conversations. Like I said, we don't have time to dig into individual campus or district data. So we are going to use statewide release data to have our conversations. But this is something you could take back to your campus or your district and say, hey, this is just a structure that we use that is pretty beneficial. So when we look at STAAR data, this is once again statewide data. This is typically how we look at it. It's that horizontal orientation where we're looking at the 5th grade science scores from 21, 22 to 23 to 24. And then of course, obviously, yeah, there's a lot to notice and wonder about the scores as they're shown here. You do see that 8% drop in meets, and that's across the state. So I have seen a lot of teachers just concerned about their scores on their campuses. But as you start to see, like it wasn't just one particular school or district or teacher. The state average fell by 8%. So we just wanted to kind of start by just recognizing and affirming to our teachers that like we heard of a lot of teachers kind of getting down on themselves. Don't be so down on yourself. Of course, there's always places that we can grow and learn, but just for you to know that the whole state kind of tripped up a little bit this year. So that's kind of what we're going to look at. So but there's more than, of course, one way to look at data. So what I'm also going to show is this is the math data in that same time span. So this is just, I took screenshots from TEA's website. They published this data. This is for math for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Goes back all the way to 2019. And then here's the data for RLA, for the reading test, all the way back to 2019. And so what we can do is we can use data as a phenomena. And so we know that the new TEKS, we're going to talk about the new TEKS in a little bit, and phenomena-based learning is really important, and it's very explicitly stated in the TEKS that we use phenomena. So using data sets is a great way to use phenomena. So this is the data that we're going to use as our phenomena today. And I just want to encourage you, like I said, typically we just look at this top set of data when looking at our STAAR scores for science and elementary, but there's other pieces that we can look at. And so rather than, like I said, just looking vertically, I'd encourage you to look as a cohort, because this spring of 23 to spring of 24, those are 2 different groups of students. So one other way you could look at it is to think about how this group of 5th graders, how they performed on the math test as 4th graders and how they performed on the math test as 3rd graders. You could also look up and see your group of 5th graders this year. Here's how they did in science, but then here's how they did in math, and here's how they did in ELA. So you can look at the data in a couple different ways. And to reinforce our new TEKS as well, I'm going to show this is just a screenshot of our recurring themes and concepts, which are these lenses that scientists use to analyze phenomena, things that they don't quite understand all the way. So that's what we know the RTCs are. They're brain tools that scientists utilize to tackle something they don't quite understand all the way. So what I'd like to encourage you to do, what we are going to get into our first set of breakout. We're going to do 2 different breakouts. This first one is going to be to talk about the data as the phenomena. And I'd like you to look through the lens of patterns and cause and effect. I'd like to focus on the RTC of patterns, cause and effect, and let that guide your conversation as you get into breakout groups, okay?